All right, now let's talk about probability with combinatorics when it gets just a tad little bit more complicated. There's this formula, and you're not gonna have to memorize this formula. It's gonna be available to you, but I do want to kind of explain what it means here. So lots of stuff going on here. It could be really confusing, and it's all explained in here. But S plus F, that's success plus failures. Well, if you think about it, success plus failures, that's just the total number of trials, or that's the total number of outcomes. And S is the number of successes. So we're really saying, hey, number of trials, choose the number of favorable outcomes or number of successful outcomes. We're going to times this combination by the probability of success. Whatever the probability of success is of one event to the power of the number of successes. So for example, if the probability is 1/2 and we want 3 successes, it would be 1/2 to the third power. And if the probability of success was 1/2, the probability of failure would be 1/2. And then maybe we want 2 failures. And that way we can get the exact probability of a specific number of events. So let's play with this a little bit so I can show you what I mean. Find the probability of flipping a coin 3 times and getting heads exactly twice. Okay, so 3 times, that's how many times we're flipping it. That must be my total number of trials or my successes plus my failures. Let's see, I'm going to get heads exactly twice. So that must be my success, right? And I'm going to find the probability of this. So let's just go ahead and fill this out. Looking up here, success plus failure, that's 3. So I got 3. Choose. Number of successes is 2. Okay, there's my first part of the formula. Now, what is the probability of a single success? Well, remember, we're defining a success here as getting heads. Well, so what's the probability of getting heads? Well, it's just simply 1/2, right? And we want this to happen 2 times. Next, what's the probability of failing? Well, that's the same thing as the probability of success in this situation, so that's also 1/2, and we want that to happen 1 time. All right, we've got our formula down. We're ready to just plug this into the calculator. All right, 3 choose 2 is actually 3. 1/2 to the second power is 1/4, and 1/2 to the 1 power is just 1/2, so we could just keep multiplying this out. 3 times 1 times 1 is 3. 4 times 2 is 8, so the probability of getting heads exactly twice after flipping it 3 times is 3 out of 8, or a 3/8 chance. So I have a very similar question here for you to try. Find the probability of flipping a coin 5 times and getting tails exactly 3 times. I want you to go ahead and try this on your own. Okay, so we have a total number of 5 trials, or 5 success plus failures would be 5 because we're flipping it 5 times total. We want to get tails exactly 3 times. The probability of doing that is 1/2, and we want it to happen 3 times. The probability of failing is 1/2 as well, and we want that to happen exactly 2 times. And so we would get 5 choose 3, which is 10, 1/2 to the third power, which is 1/8, 1/2 to the second power, which is 1/4, and then we just multiply our across. 10 times 1 times 1 is 10, 8 times 4 is 32. Reduce that, and you get 5/16. Okay, before you do the summary, I actually have another problem I want you to copy down in your notes. So I want you to pause the video and just copy down this problem really quick. Okay, hopefully you have it copied down now. We're going to go through this. So this one, I just wanted to show you how it could get a little bit different here. A 6-sided die is rolled 5 times. Okay, right away I see that we're doing something 5 times. I think that's going to be my success plus failure. What's the probability that the die will show the number 3 exactly 2 times? Okay, so I want it to happen twice. There's my successes. Okay, so remember the formula. I'm just going to write the whole formula out again. It's S plus F, choose success, times the probability of success. That's all that P of S means, probability of success, to the number of successes, times the probability of failure, to the number of failures. Okay, so we already got a few of this information here. We know that the success plus failures is 5. We're gonna roll this die 5 times. And we know the number of successes is 2. Okay, so 5 choose 2. But now, what's the probability of success? Well, now it's a little bit different because we have a 6-sided die and we're trying to roll the number 3. Well, the probability of rolling the number 3 on a 6-sided die is 1 in 6. So we're gonna say that's a 1 in 6 chance. And again, we want this to happen twice. Now, here's the interesting thing. What's the probability of failure? Well, there's 5 other numbers on there that aren't 3. So there's a 5 in 6 chance of rolling it, a number that's not 3. And if we're going to have it land on 3 exactly 2 times, that means it's going to not land on 3 exactly 3 times, because we're rolling it 5 times total. So this is just an example of how, you can use this formula for a little bit more complicated calculations. But let's go ahead and do the math here. 5 choose 2 is actually 10. 1/6 to the second power, well, 1 to the second power is just 1, and 6 to the second power is 36. 5 to the third power, okay, that's 125. And 6 to the third power, I'm getting out my calculator for that. That's 216. And so now we just put this all in our calculator, right? 10 times 1 times 125. Well, that's not too hard to do, right? Because 10 times 125 is going to be 1250. And 36 times 216, I plug that in my calculator and I get 7776. And I bet you could reduce this. I'm going to just use my calculator to reduce it. And it doesn't reduce by much, just by half, but that's 625 out of 3888. Or you could also just put this in the calculator and get about 0.16. That's approximately 0.16. So there you go. There's the probability of this unique situation. All right. I want you to go back to the last page or go up to the summary, and now you can answer your summary. Okay, bye.